And I know what this is to say this, but I still have like the natural like urge to ask. So I'm just gonna be like, I'm just still gonna ask, how are you, Julie?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well too. So we're laughing because it's like, well, Julie, do you want to explain the whole "how are you doing" thing? You'll explain it better than me.
Do you mean how I'm kind of averse to hearing how are you doing, or was it something else?
Like how you said, like it's something about. See, I'm not going to be able to explain it properly about how like we don't really know how we're doing, except like in truth we're doing well. So like you don't really know how to
Yeah,
answer. Like,
I always say I'm doing well because well, first of all, that was something that was trained into me during childhood. My mother instructed me when I was writing to a pen pal in another country, you say, I'm fine, how are you? How are you doing? I'm doing well, you know? And so I'm just trained to respond like that. But then I realized, well, it's true. I am always doing well. And if I think I'm not, I need to reorient because everything's here for me and everyone all the time. So what was trained into me became true. And I always say the same thing because if I try to think about, well, how am I doing? My ego is going to answer that for me. You're up, you're down, you're this, you're that. But really, I'm always the same thing.
it's true. Well, especially because that like, essentially what you're saying. Not that anyone needs me to clarify for you, but I'm just expanding on what you're saying, which is our
Hmm.
true state of being is happiness, is joy, is peace, is love. Like those aren't actual feelings. I don't understand what that means. 'Cause to me, they feel like feelings, but like they're not feelings. They're states of being. They're a true state of being, and it's actually interesting. Hi guys, how are you? Feel free to ask questions. We're just talking about reality and awakening and how things function. And if you have questions, we'll talk about those. So yeah, but it's interesting. So we weren't really quite sure exactly what we were going to talk, but we kind of got a natural flow started here, and it's interesting when we talk about our true state of being, and then versus when we're how we allow ourselves to operate with the pretend tools of ego, illusion, shadow, false evidence appearing real. Um, the other day, so I had said this to Julie the other day as well, but just to reiterate and then to tell you guys, whoever is here listening or tuned in, and another now, um, twice in the past week now, and I felt like smaller hits of this before, but this was like bigger than what I felt before, which is again for me point proof of the fact that the work that I'm doing, the mental cleanup that I do on myself is giving me results. Because for me to allow this, especially with and actually I'm starting to feel it right now, is proof of that. And it's just I was just sitting here, and out of nowhere twice in the past week, and again, like I said, I'm starting to feel it again now. I just felt this joy just bubble up in my chest, like this big joy, to the point that it was like I was smiling. And it was the second time, I think it was actually making me laugh out loud a bit. The first time like it was so funny, I was almost laughing out loud. And I'm sitting there and I'm
Hmm.
looking, I'm like, there's no, like, yes, like the general, like I'm very lucky, what's luck, but like I'm grateful that I've got a roof over my head and food in my fridge. Like those are reasons to be joyful, of course, but like this immense joy when I look at myself and my life and where I'm clinging to illusion of suffering and whatnot, I'm like, I have no reason to feel this joyful, but I am. And it felt so good and so nice. And I was like, this is our true state of being. This is what technically not just feel but am all the time. And it's when I'm allowing myself to feel this, it is now getting bigger. And I know that this will become more and more permanent till it is permanent, because it's what is. So I wanted to just throw that out there, because that was kind of like what you explained was kind of like a good segue into that. And just, for anyone who's watching this now or at any other now, and this is a reminder for myself too, because I can be in spaces but I haven't felt this in probably over 2 months, like at least deeply. If you're in a space where, you're in the illusion of struggling and not knowing, you know, why it's worth it to stick through this and whatnot, doing the mental cleanup when you're able to, it does start to change things around. And I can be resistant to admitting that my hand's getting gripped onto really strongly right now. So like, I'll just let you guys know as confirmation. But then if you want to practice seeing energy, my hand like being held onto, especially right in here, right in here. Excuse me. So excuse me. So this stuff does work, and it might be an illusion of taking some quote unquote time and layers. But if you keep pushing through it, then it does start to change things. So, hi Timothy,
Oh,
how are
cool.
you? He's saying, what do you guys think of using AI like Chat GPT for inner work or mental cleanup? And then let's see here. More like using it as a tool. So sorry, before we get into that, I forgot, I should have just taken a moment and seeing if Julie, if you wanted to say anything to any of that, and then we can get into what Tim is asking.
Yeah, I just like how you are showing that the joy that we are is not because of a reason in time and space. And I just tapped into it this morning too, and I started crying. And so don't be surprised if you find yourself crying with like silly relief. So it's here all the time. We just work really hard to keep it covered up. And basically, all our efforting and judgment is to keep covered up the thing that is our happiness that we are. So it's funny when you uncover it and it gets a chance to be uncovered. That's what we're going after, not the up or down ego feeling states that ego says if you try this, if you get this, you'll get happiness. But it's selling fake happiness. It's not this joy that's always here and that everyone always has, no matter what. So using AI for inner work or mental cleanup, I think it's fine because your path lights up for you. And if AI is lighting up for you today, then you follow it. In my experience, our guidance every day is obvious, and it comes in the form of a thought, feels like your thought, or sometimes it might feel like it's from outside you, but it's very simple. It's a thought. And if the thought comes to use AI as a tool, who is anyone else to judge AI especially positively or especially negatively? Who are you to judge it especially positively or especially negatively? We don't really know what we're doing here because we're making it up. We're experiencing an illusion. And if you get directed toward something separate that we're calling AI that is not separate at all, then go for it.
Excuse me. Oh, absolutely. And I just want to back up to what you were saying before, and then I want to respond to all of this, the AI stuff. So, with the crying, absolutely. Like this stuff can bring you to tears. I couldn't stop crying from the night before last, going into yesterday, just because of like all this love that was surfacing, and it can bring you to tears. Um, so that, and that's really beautiful, and I'm happy for you that you were in that space, like allowing that through. And then it's with the AI stuff, it's so funny that you're asking about this. Now to me, this is also point proof of how everything is connected and we're all one mind, we're all one. Because someone very close to me this morning shared a post on on Facebook about AI, and how like there's the AI apps where you take your picture, or when you're on video, and like there's the filters that you can put on, and it's this whole thing, like this whole conspiracy thing about how um it's like the government, it wasn't just for fun, it's taking your identity, it's like taking information about your identity, it's doing this, it's doing that, like all this stuff about what these AI filters are actually being used for. um and I responded and I said, like, these are reminders for myself, and my friend knows this stuff too. Like we have these conversations, and we both fall into these things. Like I fall into my judgments as well as stuff. But I just always remember to circle back to remembering what the truth is. And what I essentially said, my foot's getting my foot just got tickled, so there's confirmation on what I'm about to say. So thank you for that. Sorry. Shit, sorry. Very strong foot tickling, sorry. And now this hand's getting gripped onto, especially right in here and in here. Um excuse me. So essentially what I said on this post, and what I'm saying also in response to what Timothy is asking, is I laughed. I put LOL. Well, we are AI. We are like it's like it's not that we're literal computer characters and there's more advanced beings that are controlling us on a computer. It's not literally like that. It's just a really good metaphor or analogy or whatever the correct wording is. Right now, my brain's gone blank, but um in that sense we are what is AI? Artificial intelligence. uh, God's source, our true self. I've heard people talk about how that's AI. I'm kind of wondering if they're meaning it in a different type of meaning that I don't necessarily comprehend yet, because for me, God's source is not AI, because AI, artificial intelligence, which just means that we're pretend characters that are playing pretend roles. And so it's funny when everyone gets all scared and like whatnot about AI, especially with how real AI is looking, because it's like, that's exactly what this is right here. Like when you're brushing your hair and you're
Yeah.
looking in your mirror, that's what you're also looking at is AI, but we haven't remembered that, but we're starting to remember that. So,
Mhm.
and then also AI, all I. It's all just for everything is a metaphor and reflecting what we're choosing to cling to. And it's either going to be ego lies or truth. And now that being said, of course, in the illusion, help where we can if it feels right. Like I help where I can still. I just also remember now to zoom out and remember what the truth is and anchor onto that. And I work really hard on not looking at people or situations as villains versus heroes versus victims. I struggle with that. I'm in the illusion of struggling with that still, but I'm working on that. So yeah, using AI and chat GPT for inner work, like Julie said, well, first of all, we're not to judge. There is no good or bad. Everything is helpful. And it's all about intention. You know, if it's it's just another useful tool. And if you're doing it with the intention of inner work and self work, great. It's the same thing. So I'm going to shut up in a second and let Julie speak. I just want to give this parallel when it comes to, say, healing. Because I talk a lot about how we're not actually healing people and it's a temporary band-aid solution. With that being said, though, it's all about the intention. If you're going in and doing healing work on yourself or another with remembering what the truth is that it's just as another metaphor of surrendering what isn't real to allow what is real. And if you're the healer, they're reflecting what you're choosing to cling to as well. And there's the intention of it's helpful for you as well. It's all helpful. It's just what matters is intention. And even if we're not doing it with the quote unquote right intention, it's still helpful. We can't get it wrong. It might look like it, but we can't actually get it wrong. And then Timoth says, sorry, Julie, I'm going to let you speak in a second. I just want to look here at Timoth.
Mhm.
In a way, we're like, he's saying, in a way, we're like The Sims. If you've ever played The Sims on the computer, also there's all these fears around AI, like you mentioned, such as people scamming others and more. I actually think about The Sims a lot, and I've used that as a metaphor when it comes to speaking about truth. And then I've also used a metaphor of speaking from my ego fear. I'm like, well, look at what we do to The Sims, and people like we torture them just for the fun of it. So blah blah blah, But that's the ego gameplay of it. This is like a VR game. It's like a simulation game. It's not literally, but that's a good way to explain it. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I know I'm talking a lot. Please go ahead, Julie.
You have no reason to be sorry because all things work together for good.
Thank you.
So, all right. So being like The Sims, I just gave a talk on Sunday, and I said during that talk, I didn't know I was going to say it, that the bodies are like robots and they're always controlled, whether it's your body or another body you're looking at. The bodies are always under control. And what are they under the control of? What I choose. Because all of us are the same thing and all of us are that powerful. We all share power. And I think what we're remembering, what we're waking up to is we share this only the power of goodness without opposite. But we originally kind of here came here to see bodies play out chaos. And when bodies seem to be playing out chaos, I see what I believe and I believe it because I want to see it. But it's okay. You're blessed and loved as a child of God or any other way you want to put it, innocent being if you want to leave the God word out of it, however you need to say it. We're all goodness without opposite together. So then when all I want to see is our shared innocence, our shared worthiness, um, our goodness without opposite, that we are together, then I'll see what I want to see. I'll see what I believe, and I'll believe it because I want to see it. Do I want to see only innocence in you and in everyone? Or is there still kind of this comparative little machine active in me that still needs to try to get a separate and better identity for myself, or even a worse identity? Because any different identity is satisfying to the ego. It doesn't matter if it appears better or worse. At least then the ego can say, I am this thing. Whether I'm a victim or I'm a villain or I'm a bystander, I'm a neglectful one, whatever I showed up as in this drama, then when we're waking up together, we realize we're not these characters. And I can see everyone as they are right now, and they always have been. So I give permission to phenomenality. I give permission to time and space to reconfigure, to show me the truth of who all of us are. And the truth of who all of us are is never anything to fear. Sometimes, though, I will hear fearful thoughts in my mind about AI that starts to creep in. So I do need to stop quickly and remind myself, God goes with me everywhere I go. That's a lesson from A Course in Miracles. Anybody can reorient toward truth any way they want to. It doesn't have to be that way, but that helps me snap out of my trance.
And I'm still working on it. And it that when I'm in a bit of a better head and heart space, that can help me do that as well. But when I'm really deep in it, as Julie very much clearly knows because she's been on the phone with me many times, I can still struggle with that. But it's like working a muscle. The more you practice at it, the stronger it gets. And with all of that, just talking about where you were talking about how, you know, oh, I'm forgetting the point that you made that made talking about, thank you, talking about how we're basically like robots, but we're always like the robots always being controlled and whatnot. And um we've
Oh,
been
yeah, I
allowing.
didn't say, can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
I don't think I said the two things. Maybe I did, but I forgot. The robots that I'm watching and experiencing, like this body, right? It's being controlled either by the oneness that we are or the sense of chaos that I try to impose on reality. So I'm always making the choice as the perceiver. And when I realize my power as the perceiver and that I share that with everyone, then everything starts to make sense in a whole different way, but a way that brings a lot of relief.
that's actually kind of perfect segue into I'm from what I glanced at, from what I have here, I feel like it's kind of a perfect segue, but we'll see as I read it. Because
Hmm.
I have two books that I had gotten the urge to, well, I got the urge to pull out my again my Remember Be Here Now Ram Dass book. But when I was resistance kicking in there. Excuse me.
It's
Oh my
okay.
goodness, excuse me. Um, and then so my setup that I've got, my lovely setup, it's literally a stack of books, and then I'm using a DVD case and a wireless speaker to hold my phone up. So that's my setup. So when I was pulling my books out, one book that I forgot I had that fell on the floor, and I was like, oh, I should pull it over, is my Chicken Soup for the Soul Angels and Miracles book. And so as you were talking about the robot stuff, and I feel like what you just said is a good segue into this, but like I said, we'll see as I read it. From what I glanced at it, it feels like it aligns with what we were saying, but metaphorically. So like not literally, but metaphorically. So it just happened to flip it open because like I said, I got an urge to flip it open, and I flipped it open at the very end of a story in here. I don't know what the story's about, but it says here. So I guess he or she, whoever it is hearing a voice, excuse me, which would be God, whatnot, speaking in his head, and it says, and then what made you turn and head, or someone asked him, and then what made you turn and head back up to the fence? I answered reluctantly, afraid they'd think I was crazy. Well, it was like a little voice in my head said, you should get near the fence because you never know what's in a field. They were shaking their heads in disbelief. Excuse me. They assured me that no matter who was talking to me, it was a good thing I paid attention. I sucked in my breath, shocked at what they said next. You were about 2 feet away from driving right into the pond. You would have drowned. The pond is pretty deep. Oh, this is making me want to cry
Oh,
because it feels really powerful. It seemed unbelievable. We all agreed it was amazing that a voice warned me just in time to miss the pond. The men didn't want to pay the men didn't want payment to fix their fence. They were satisfied helping me get back on the road, elated to not be fishing my body out of the water. By the time I got back in my car, the fog was starting to dissipate, but the men walked along beside me, helping me navigate out of the field. As they guided me to their driveway, they showed me where I could have lost my life. My tire track stopped a few feet shy of the edge of the pond. I remember that loose and rattling rear window and realized my car would have filled with water faster than normal. I probably wouldn't have made it. I thank God for answering my mother's prayers, the ones I was sure she started as soon as I left the house that foggy night, and I thanked him for the mysterious voice that saved me. Oh, it was a woman, Lorraine. Um, so that was by Lorraine Furtner. Um, so what I was receiving with that and still am receiving with that, and again, it felt that, especially that one part just felt so powerful. It made me want to cry. It wasn't the whole scenario of like he almost died and he was saved because this voice saved him. What the metaphor of that's coming through is the whole, we're driving through our illusion, and um when we allow what's real to take over, we are guided away and out and through and out of the illusion. So instead of drowning in our illusion, which we're not literally drowning, but
mm,
we play pretend that we are, instead of drowning in our illusion, we are guided away from drowning. And even with the metaphors, not only with the voice, the metaphor of the voice guidance, but then also like we it comes through in all these forms, through voices, through the bodies around us. So like we're held, supported, carried, loved always. Like even just the men guiding him through the driveway, and like, all of that. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but I could just see and feel so strongly the metaphors of when we allow what's real to take over and take control, that oneness, go from my will to thy will, and allow the truth perception and lens rather than the false ego lens. We're stopped from the drowning and we're guided through and we're guided out and we're navigated back home, which is where we always are. Is that all making sense? Are you understanding? Like,
yeah. Yeah, what kept coming through as you were talking was safe harbor, safe harbor, safe guidance, safe guidance. So as we learn how to tune into the guidance that's here for everyone and everything, think of like a tree being guided in how to grow, for example, that kind of guidance is here for all of us all the time. And when you think of it as being unified and harmonic, it's so beautiful. Of course, you would want to tune into the thing that would help everybody and everything out of any perceived difficulty and problem together as one piece. It's so beautiful. And it's here for everybody because it is everybody. And it connects everyone and everything because we are all connected. So when it seems like ego will tell us in the world about, well, this is safe and this is unsafe, and let's have a conversation about it. Yes, let's yell about it and let's insist about it and let's put people into categories based on whether we think they're safe or unsafe. And let's talk about the safety and lack of safety in things and situations when all the time our safety is here within us. Our safety is connecting us. And what forms is that going to take in the world we experience? We don't know. We don't know. There's a place where we can allow, and we're mistaken about form coming into being because the form comes from our thoughts that we believe. And that's why it's worth paying a lot of attention to the thoughts we're believing, because you definitely want to turn around when your thoughts are grim and face toward what's here for all of us. And it's just beautiful. So Timoth says, have you ever heard of the book The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins? I have heard of it, but I don't really know anything about it. It seems like it ties into what we talked about last time, on how instead of changing the other person, we turn inward. Yeah. I find that when I turn inward, I'm in what the other person is. So I'm in our connection. So if there's something I'm supposed to say and do that would be helpful for both of us, that can occur to me. Or sometimes it's just a state of mind. Maybe I don't feel guided to interact with a person, but I can always get right in my mind about who that being is behind the mask of the person, and I can rest in what that being is. That being's always peace no matter what. And so if I get right in my mind and I rest in the peace we are together, then if I am supposed to do or say something to benefit us both, it will become clear in my mind. So that's what I practice. It's sometimes it's not clear in my mind, and that's okay too. We could just use that time for continuing to tune in to who that being is, no matter what.
And it's it's still often not clear in my mind. I struggle with this stuff still. With that being said, it is like, of course, again, help where we can if it feels right. I'm playing with the illusion, of help is needed in spaces. That being said, trying to, like, you're talking about trying to change another. Um, it's at the end of the day, it's always going to be fruitless because first of all, it's an ego gameplay and ego's insane, and it's always going to be an up and down and a back and forth, a yin and yang. It's always going to be like that fight there. Yes, it's intertwined, but it's also a bump against each other in a sense. Um, but then also it's going to be fruitless in that sense of the fact that it's just a projected hologram. So when you're trying to reach out and change something in a hologram, there's nothing physically there to, it's just a projection, right? And it's just a metaphorical projection of something. That projection, there is technically no external, but it's a metaphorical projection of something that we're choosing to cling to within, which is why it, what we're talking about, it's not there's things better or worse, but the non-temporary band-aid solution, so like the real more permanent solution is to go within and do that mental cleanup, because do that inner work, because it is all coming from within. It's everything is perception, and it can be really difficult to see that at times because this now can still look and feel so real, but it's not real. And that's where I also end up getting more stubborn with myself on this mental cleanup, because then I start to feel fear when I start thinking about, and especially when it starts to become, I have moments where it becomes obvious, even when it's loving, it can still start to freak me out a little bit because I go, oh, I really am making all this up by what I'm clinging to. And then like when what comes the conscious stuff, it's like, okay, even though like it can be very like ego oriented, it's still it's obvious in the sense that it's conscious. Where I start to really feel the fears when I think about what's my subconscious playing at, but like my ego subconscious. Julie and I were talking about the subconscious the other day, and I experienced something in my external, and I was just saying like there's nothing in my being that way I would even think my subconscious would want this, but there's that we're always, as much as I can feel the resistance in admitting this right now, we're always choosing to navigate the dream that we see. Um, oh, hi. Her name again. I always, for Assie, is it with Assie? Did we say it last time? Assie or Asai? I think you said it was Assie. Hi, how are you? I'm so sorry.
Hello.
I forgot. I can be so bad with names. I am so sorry. And then I also just don't want to be saying it wrong. um,
We could say
but
Ozzy.
pardon?
Oh, the
Assy.
first
Okay.
one? Assy.
Assy. Assy. I'm trying to drill it into my brain. Well, we are very happy that you're here, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks for
Um,
coming.
yes, thank you so much. Um, so with that though, so I can get freaked out when I think about what is my ego subconscious at play at. But then I try to remember kind of what you remind me of, Julie, which is um one illusion is the same as all. So as long as I'm continue to keep working on what consciously surfaces, that does do the work on what's subconscious. And then keeping surrendering and allowing, I want to use, like right now I'm going to use the word Eric because I use the energy form of Eric very, like I do it with the acknowledgement that he is me and it's all God, which is our true self. but I very much turn to the Eric form, especially with this stuff. Um, on a certain level when I'm doing that real time. I'm trying to work on doing it like focusing on just like the oneness, but I'm still practicing at that. But just just leaning on him and zooming off with him, the him character, spirit, God, our true self, like just leaning on that and letting that guide me and just knowing that, see, it's making me want to cry. It's just been very surfaced about how like they're here with me at every step of the way, which it's funny because I was asking Julie about this. So just a quick side note, I was asking Julie about this when we were talking yesterday, and just out of like my ego surfacing, and I was just emotional. I was like, so like you, like your true self, like your spirit form, like you're here with me and Eric's here with me. And as I went to finish there, but then I go like said without even really thinking, like every step of the way, and it felt so much like Eric speaking, like, and but I was forming it into my question, and like Julie was like, I feel like I'm getting it right in saying like you were kind of getting like it was feeling like yes, and it just
Mhm.
it's just really beautiful to know that there is this just beyond love that is here with us every step of the way, helping us, guiding us through and out of this illusion, which we're not actually indulging in. But again, it looks and feels real right now. So there is really nothing to be scared of. Just keep doing the mental, but that's why it's important to do the mental cleanup, because when we let ourselves blast up without doing it, this illusion, we think it's scary now. And I don't want to go down that path. It's not wrong or bad, but it is the illusion of terrifying. So I'm going to keep working on myself.
Yeah, I had something I was gonna say. I forgot.
I'm
That's
so
okay.
sorry.
But that's okay. When you were saying every step of the way, I was thinking that I thought of that, but who knows who thought of it, right? It's one mind. I thought that's what I heard to tell you, but maybe that's what you heard to share. We don't know the difference in the end because we share one mind. So
That's so
it's
funny.
okay. And I remember what I wanted to say. It is hard to remember it because we're so trained in ego's way of thinking, but whoever we're experiencing and however we're experiencing them, either near or far, the guarantee is that ego's thoughts that we believed are aligned with experiencing them that way. In other words, it's like I'm a little kid playing pretend and I asked you to play the part of the dragon. And because you're nice, you pretended to be an evil dragon. And there is an end to this game, and this game is just pretending. And no one in my drama can act against my wishes. Well, if my drama is terrifying, what have I been doing? I've been filing some pretty wacky requests. So that's what this inner time is for, to reorient and understand I'm done playing with children's toys. I'm done scaring myself. I'm done being scared. I'm done with fear. We are love and nothing but. Fear is invented. Let's move on now. Let's let go of the illusion and return to the full awareness of what we are, because there's nothing we can get from here. We're complete. We're the joy that the ego says we can get from time and space. We already are that joy. So all we have left to do is to keep reorienting toward that joy and wanting nothing but to see that joy in everyone and everything we call else, whether that thing is a country, an object, it doesn't matter. But where we feel disturbed is where we're separating off one part of what we're seeing and saying it's different. So we can say it's especially good or especially bad. And those are the locks and chains we've had on ourselves and on our experience, all the judgment, and now we don't need it.
I love that. And I got two things surfacing. Well, I got one thing surfacing and then I was receiving something else. On the one end, you just, particularly with what you were talking about at the beginning, just reminded me of the story of the little soul from Neil Donald Walsh. The Little
Mhm.
Soul in the Sun, I think it's called. The one, and it's essentially where the soul, the little soul wants to experience what it is. And it went to God to say that. And what I love about this story is it adds in there right after that. It says, which is a really good place to go if you want to be what you truly are, which is God. So it acknowledges that everything and everyone is one. It is God. There's not actually these separate souls. So I love that part. But it goes to God asking, like saying, I want to be what I truly am. And God goes like, what do you mean? Like there is nothing but what you actually are. And so he says, well, we're going to have to make something that you're not, which is the illusion, darkness, whatever. And the soul's like, is the dark scary? And God goes, only if you choose for it to be, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, the only thing is there is nothing for there to be dark because it doesn't exist. And then the soul's all like, oh, that's like too bad. But then another soul comes along going, I'll pretend to be the dark for you, and go, you like, why would you do that for me? Like, why would you like pretend to be something so much that you're not? And he goes, because I love you so much. And don't you remember we've done this dance eons and infinity amount of times? Like we've both been the up and the down of it, the here and the there of it, the you know, and it's just always making me want to cry. This story always makes me sob. In fact, I think I have a reading of it in one of my videos. I'm gonna look it up after and I'll add the link to the description if you guys are interested, or you can look it up online. There are like free versions you can find online, but you'll also see a lot of advertisements to buy it too. So but anyway, so it just and then at the end it talks about, instead of like stamping your fist, stamping your feet and shaking your fist and cursing the dark, you know, be grateful because it allows you to be what you truly are, which is like in the illusion of opposition, kind, caring, unconditional love, generous, sharing, all of that stuff. And so instead of shaking your fist at the dark and cursing it at it, like thank it for allowing you to be this. And then, oh my, this is gonna make you cry. And then like the very last thing, because God says this earlier, but then it ends off saying, remember, and remember God said, and God said, remember, I've sent you nothing but angels. It makes me want to cry. So so beautiful. Like this I in fact I'm pretty sure I sobbed or cry when in this video that I made of it. But so that just what you had said reminded me of that. Like we're loved so much that energy which we're one with plays as we allow, and will always play as we allow it, because we are loved. That is, I know, I'm pretty sure Bashar talks about this, like that, like unconditional love is allowing us to
Mhm.
be and experience whatever we want, however it looks, and there's no judgment. And that can be really hard for the ego to accept, especially when you look at certain situations and certain people. I'm not going to name anything right now because I don't want to get into that. But I have my judgments with certain situations and people, and it can be really hard to not go into unconditional love with that. But it helps when I remember stories like that, because those are really good examples to remember that this is essentially what this is. It's all an illusion gameplay. And that's what I received when when Julie was talking. I get this often when this stuff kind of surfaces, well, not often, but it is one of like a consistent kind of go-to that I receive from Robin Williams, Archangel Raphael. He kicked in and you know the movie Hook, Julie, and you know, well, I'm
I
guessing you guys
kind of.
you
I'm
kind of
trying to
do.
remember if I've seen it or if I just know about it. I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, Hook essentially, which I'm assuming I want to assume everyone's seen, but for those who haven't, if you haven't, it's Robin Williams plays adult Peter Pan, has to go back to Neverland to because Hook has kidnapped his kids and all this stuff, and they have to all the Lost Boys have to help him become Peter Pan again because he forgot. Anyway, so as we're talking, and Robin will give this as a consistent kind of go-to at times, when the illusion's kind of getting to me or whatnot. And I just it's at the end after they've defeated Hook and whatnot, and then Peter and his kids fly back off to Neverland. It zooms back into one of the Lost Boys, and because they're all looking up, and it zooms back down, and it focuses in on one of them, and he's looking up, and he goes, "That was a great game," because it's taken so seriously, and it's like they got to defeat Hook. That he's going to kidnap it, like he's kidnapped his kids. Like this is like they're in a war with each other, and like it's But then at the end, like it just all circles down to, that was a great game. Like just no, like none of the tension, none of it was just a game. It was just a game. And that
Yeah.
so he gives that to me often with this, and I love that because it does bring in how there's that childlike innocence that we all are, and then the reminder that it is just a game. And we do laugh together about this outside of this, because not at each other but together, because we do take it so serious in this, but it is just a game and it's not even actually happening. So we've got a couple comments here. So Assie said, when I asked Archangel Michael if I have any archangel with me all the time, I got the answer saying seraphim, which I've never seen. which I've never even heard in my life before. So I was looking it up, not much information. That's really beautiful. I'm happy for you that you received that. So I'm just going to give a response. Then I want to let Julie speak. So for me, with where I'm at, so everything is helpful. I'm playing with the illusion of energies, like my two main spirit guides, even though it's all like, and that's just it. All is with us all always. And there's not even one spirit guide versus another. There's no, and hierarchy isn't a thing. So even though I say Robin Williams is Archangel Raphael and Eric is Archangel Uriel, in truth, there's literally no difference. They can do the same thing as each other. I can do what they can do. We're literally like there is no our true power is which I got this from Julie actually. This wording, which is our true powers and limitlessness is safe because it's equal and shared. So it's all role playing games. So I've heard of Seraphim before. I don't really know I'm even it's almost like I'm blocked in a sense of even trying to remember what exactly they're supposed to be. I know it's some sort of supposed to be high angelic status, but again, that's more of like an ego gameplay. What I'm feeling for you with that is it's a boost in helping you remember and feel and see how loved and held and carried you are. Now, this is equal for everybody, just focusing in on you. My hands are being gripped onto. Um, and so and then there's also something, I'm asking for help with my words. It's like a key thing to help you tap into more, to help you just because it's pushed you to be more curious about this stuff and look into it, and all of this stuff helps add into awakening and remember, even if we have some ego filter stuff kicking through, it all helps with remembering, and this is kind of like help push you more into looking more into this stuff, and which helps you to awaken and remember more. I hope that's all making sense. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Julie.
I looked it up, but also the word that just keeps occurring to me is glorious, glorious. So we need to allow the glorious into your experience to begin to see yourself, your being is glorious, to begin to look at others and remember no matter what, the glorious is what they are. It is within them and it is what connects everybody. So that's definitely the main theme running through my mind. But
Can I
then when
add
I
in
look it
there?
up,
I'm so
oh yeah,
sorry. I know you have more to say, but
that's
I just
okay.
want to quickly jump in there. What's really funny that you keep getting glorious is for the past couple weeks, I keep randomly getting, but like, and I never have this playing in my head is, like the song, like, oh my God, I gonna have to, I can't sing, but I don't know how to
Go for
explain
it.
it. So, it's not that
Oh yeah.
Gloria that has been
Be
playing
like
over and
Chelsea
over.
stay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's just so funny that you keep getting glorious because that I keep getting that in my head like randomly over and over the past 2 weeks. So
Oh, that's
definitely some
beautiful.
confirmation and synchronicity. I'm so sorry. Please go ahead. I had to share that.
That's okay. I love that you shared that. That was a perfect match. It was appropriate. So it says seraphim are fiery, six-winged angelic beings described in Jewish and Christian texts, particularly in Isaiah's vision, who continuously praise God and are closest to his throne, representing divine love and purity. So just there, the emphasis with me lately has really been to focus on the God and everyone and everything, the ever presence, the one divine presence that's true everywhere, about everyone and everything. Behind the mask of fear, I myself am projecting out. So if I'm encountering different forms, I'm giving them different meanings and values, but that's coming from the fear I'm attached to. Really, this divine presence is everywhere, and you don't need to use the word God if it, excuse me, if it doesn't work for you. You can just remember the light, the truth, what's actual. Maybe I have some resistance because here I go, but their name means burning ones, reflecting their fiery nature and role in purifying, I'll allow the purification, with imagery evolving from fiery serpents to celestial guardians of God's glory. Well, glory.
Ah,
Serving as the highest choir in angelic hierarchies. Okay, so hierarchies, we want to drop those where we can. But if you think of being elevated into the highest remembrance of who you are, and granting, excuse my own interference, it's got to be fear, granting that highest remembrance of everyone and everything else you see. It's there, it's real. That what we see and experience in time and space is the fear that we've projected on the glorious. But the glorious is here, and the glorious is not mad at us, and the glorious is who you are. And then Timothy says,
sorry,
do
I'm
you
just
do
going to interrupt.
remote viewing? Oh, yeah.
So I'm so sorry. I'm just going to interrupt really quick. I just have to. So at the moment you talked about elevated, and then at the very end, what you were saying there, my nose is being stroked so much to the point like it's
Oh,
making me
that's what
like
that
react.
face was.
Yeah, that's what I'm making the face for because like there's strokes, so that's also more confirmation. And then yes, that makes sense that you received that seraphim word. Then, especially when you look at what Julie was saying with the divine love and the divine presence and the gloriousness. So there's when we look at not the ego meanings with it, but those truth meanings, that would make sense because that's what we are and that's what you're allowing more and more of. And then, like I said, these key things are helping you look in and push more and which helps you open up more to this stuff. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
No, that was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
then
you.
Timothy says, do you do remote viewing? And could you remote view the Titanic? So I don't, but I guess any of us could. So I'm sure Tally's getting something. I'll give it to her and she can go with it.
Well, it's not that I'm receiving anything. It's just I'm so sorry. It's just I keep apologizing today, and then I want to say I'm
You
sorry
don't
for
need to
apologizing so
apologize.
much. Um, I'm reacting because it's really fun to me. Again, this is point proof that we're one and one mind and connected. Because, like, what are the and it's funny that it's like it's really strong with Timoth right now because I literally, oh my god, something happened. This was last night? It was last night or the night before. My time is mixing up on me, which makes sense because there's only now. So regardless, very like basically within the past 24 hours, I think it might have been last night. I something happened and I went into an ego rant and I was just like, if anyone's remote, oh, because I think the illusion was getting to me about the world, which is kind of funny because with AI and technology and stuff, and then just like even just with like the spiritual community and like and the ego that can run through that and remote viewing and ego remote viewing and whatnot. And so I started talking out loud and like just looking up at the air and just being like, if anyone's remote viewing me and you don't like, oh, that's what it was. Cause I was really angry about something that I'd seen in the spiritual community. Cause my ego can get really like uppity when it comes to some of the stuff that the spiritual community talks about as truth. And I'm like, how can you talk about that as truth when you say you're this awake and blah, blah, blah. So my ego can go off. And I'd been ranting about that. And then I just got this feeling of being remote viewed and someone watching me and judging me about this rant. And I was just like, if you're remote viewing me and you're judging me, well, guess what? Blah, blah, blah. And I went on a rant to whoever was remote viewing me. And now you're asking about if we remote view. So this is all, again, this is to me, this is point proof. Like I said, that we're all connected and we're all one. But it's also for me point proof that I make up the reality, the dream, the simulation that I choose to see because this is my projection right now. And it's not anything negative, but there is no negative, but it's not reflecting like an ego negative or anything like that. It is the topic of remote viewing, which has been very surfaced for me. So, and this stuff's happening more and more and more, and it is becoming obvious. So, my answer to that question, I don't remote view. We do all have the same equal shared abilities, so we can all remote view. With that being said, if anyone is being remote viewed, because I've seen videos talking about where some where they've been talking about how someone's been remote viewing them without their permission or whatnot. That can't happen. Everything is agreed upon. That's why the whole thing with as a side note, like even like curses and hexes and whatnot, even spells, everything is agreed upon. Even if you're doing a spell with water, like the water, you're in agreement with the water for working, and you are that water, you are that other. So everything is agreed upon with that. So no, I don't remote view. And then I just want to go back to because I'm trying to remember what he said. It's been could you remote view the Titanic? It's been rumored if the Titanic and her sister ship, the Olympic, were switched for insurance fraud. This has been one of the biggest conspiracies of the Titanic. Um, so for me, I could tune into those who were on the Titanic with acknowledging again, we are one, there is no past. All versions are playing out, that's actually happening. With that being said, I don't really go into conspiracy stuff anymore, even when working with spirit, because it's just not true. All like I just said, all versions are playing out, yet none of it's actually happening. And if I keep clinging to these ego gameplays of maybe they were switched and this bad thing happened, I've been down these roads. This was where I was at when I first hit my awakening about 5 years ago. I was very much into this stuff. The end of my nose is getting played with again, so there's some confirmation when I'm talking about it right at the tip right now. It's just like a little line of tingles. um, so when I first hit my awakening, I was very, very much into this stuff. I was into conspiracy theories. I had found online like I only read into some of it, but I found like basically the book on like the monarch programming and how they monarch program. And I was ready to fight the government. And I just and I was like, I'm here to fight the dark and evil, and I'm a light warrior, and I'm galactic royalty. Like, I've been down these rabbit holes, and I've seen what they do, where I almost ended up, and someone who is very close to me has been, and from the knowledge that I have, still currently is bouncing in and out of essentially the psych ward. Not essentially, they are bouncing in. It's not wrong or bad, but I don't want to navigate through those. And this is why it's so important that we watch what we focus in on. And this is where I'm going to shut up in a second and let Julie speak. But just as like a little side note for explaining about myself, this is where kind of what I was talking about earlier, where I lose respect for the spiritual community. That's my ego judgment. It's a reflection of things I cling to because I can still be in judgment. And I know that these are reflections of the stuff I'm clinging to. With that being said, this is why I talk about often watch what you're listening to, whoever's, even with me, but it doesn't matter how many followers, how many clients, if they're a medium to the celebrities, it does not matter who they are. If they're channeling what they call spirit and it's just indulging in conspiracy theories and all this stuff, and there's no explanation about, but just remember, even though we're giving you these answers and it looks like they're real and true, it's still a dream you're making up. Evil isn't real, bad isn't real. There is no wrong. You're home now. Like, there's always, spirit is always giving those reminders with everything, because again, they're here to help us. We are one with them, and they're here to help us through and out of the illusion, not to keep indulging in it. So I know I gave a little bit of a long-winded answer, but that's why I personally am not going to go into any kind of conspiracy stuff with the Titanic, because that's just I don't I've been down that road, and I won't indulge in it. If someone is a client with me and they have questions about themselves, and it's an ego gameplay stuff of some sort of form of suffering, of course we'll bring through answers, but there's always going to be these reminders of truth. Remember, it's stuff you're making up. It's this, it's this, it's this. So there's always going to be those reminders of truth. That so again, long-winded answer. Thank you for listening to all of that, and please go ahead, go ahead, Julie, 'cause I'm sure there's stuff you want to say.
Yeah. All abilities can come through any of us at any time. So if any of us is supposed to do what we call remote viewing, it can just spontaneously come through us. Or maybe somebody's going to have a life experience where remote viewing it seems very interesting to them and they really feel called to learn it in the traditional sense of learning. All of that is for us. All of that is for us. So just to put it in that frame. And then the idea of the Titanic and her sister ship, the Olympic, being switched for insurance fraud. Whenever I'm asked to look at happenings in the past or in the future, I see tons of timelines where everything seems to be happening, but nothing actually happened. So none of the time and space didn't happen. It's an illusion, but when I'm asked to look at it, I see every possibility anybody could think of as a road, a dead end, essentially, that you could go. Every road, okay, don't get scared when I say this. Every road in time and space is a dead end, but it's okay because once we hit enough dead ends, we know we have to turn around and come back to ourselves, come back to that glory, come back to the light within. And the idea of something being a conspiracy, what came to me one day is that conspiracy, if you look at con, you can interpret that as with, inspire or spire, like inspire, as breath. So if you think of like what's behind the apparent fear of a conspiracy is breathing with. You think of all beings, they don't breathe, but breathing with, being with each other. Then even in that word conspiracy, you dive down into it like you dive down a rabbit hole. You just dive down into the word and you find all of us together in the joy we are together. An experience I had was for a while, my I was helping my dad a lot toward the end of his earthly life, and at his house there would be news coverage on that was it seemed to be right wing versus left wing, right? It was more on the right. And when I first started going over to his house, I would have judgments about all these commentators I was seeing, and then Spirit kept working with me to look through the fear I was projecting on them and not attach to what they were saying or call them right or wrong, but just to be with their being. So I kept practicing with all these right wing commentators, just being with their being. And somebody who was showing up on one of the channels just for little bits was Candace Owens, like way back. And so I would practice with her. And so she kind of became Sister Candace to me. And now she's known by some, they'll say she's running after conspiracy theories. Well, sometimes I'll listen to her now and then. I'll think, I'll spend a little time, I'll listen, I'll be with her without judgment. I'm not raising her up high and saying she's right. I'm not smashing her down low and saying she's wrong. I'll just be with her. And with everyone she's mentioning in all of the stories that she's experiencing and traveling through, with all the conclusions that she's finding. And she's on this journey. Would I try to stop her from being on her journey? Never. So I wouldn't try to stop you from being on your journey. You're just brother Timothy, right? And you're glorious and I'm glorious and we're joined by love. And that's the truth of us. And if something calls to you or you're finding meaning somewhere, then at the end of that dead end, you're going to find a symbol that's significant to you. And the only thing we can do when we hit a dead end of trying to find meaning in time and space is to turn around. But you'll turn around with the symbol you found there, and it's going to guide you just like we're all being guided. So I really think we're all in the same place, no matter what our interest is.
And it's and no matter what it looks like we're navigating through, it's people talk about how we're in different boats but sailing the same ocean or whatever, but we're actually all in the same
Hmm.
boat navigating the same ocean together. So it might look like it's different, and it might look like it's different experiences, but it's essentially all the same. And I'm going to circle up to Assie in a second here. I do want to address she had a question, then Timoth has a comment which I also want to get to. That being said, just going off of what you're talking about, seeing something that we would deem as negative or whatnot. It's so I'm not going to say out loud what was said. I can tell you, Julie, afterwards. And it's not that I should be worried about censorship or like bothering people, but I just personally just don't feel like saying it out loud on the live. But we just got a comment from somebody that had to be removed because um,
Oh,
it was provocative, and it was we could even say misogynistic, and it was sexual. It was a gross comment. And so
okay.
or what we could judge as a gross comment. So I just wanted to throw that out
Okay.
there and just talk about, because that is something too, because like I am in judgment of that. Was because at first I was, because they said hi at first, and I was going to be like, oh hi, like thank you, and then all of a sudden this comment, like I saw like it was a hidden comment, so I looked to see what it said, because sometimes like Timothy had made a comment where it asked me to approve it and it was fine. So I looked at this comment, and which obviously it wasn't from Timothy, this was from someone else, and it was not a very nice comment. And I can definitely be in judgment of this comment. And it was just interesting that it kind of like aligned with what you were talking about like judging those that are speaking and whatnot, and with the things that they say, and if it can be wrong or right and whatnot. And so I don't know, I just wanted to throw that out there and see what you had to say about that, because your words will be better than mine with this.
Yeah, there was a being who came at our request in exactly the form we requested, and we have no conscious memory of requesting this, but it doesn't matter. What matters is they're our fellow being. And what matters is that it's meaningless. The form that people seem to come to us in time and space is meaningless, but we keep investing it with all our positive and negative meaning. At the same time, as we begin to remember, this is our divine sibling, and they're really only the one thing, because we can only be the one thing, love. I give permission to time and space to reflect back to me the safety of what I am. I don't need to send out requests anymore for people to show up pretending to be what I'm not and what they can't be. I can kind of cancel all those requests and easy peasy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And I mean, if I look
Yeah.
at what he said, I don't have an exact like right sentence to recalibrate, but essentially my foot just got tickled. So thank you for that confirmation. Essentially, there's the reminder that was there of being in the natural flow and coming home. And that's what I'll say.
Hmm.
Your mind might go to different places with what he actually said. And like I said, Julie, I'll explain to you afterwards. But
Okay.
there's the metaphorical representation there in a sense of being in the flow and coming home. So the everything is a metaphor, and we can either look at it as an ego, like we can look underneath every metaphor, even when it's coming off as like as the situation or person or whatever it is coming off as something that doesn't look or feel good or right or whatever. There is always a truth metaphor underneath it as well, or like there is always truth underneath that too. It's just a matter of how you're
Hmm.
going to be looking at it. um or if you can't see any of the truth, there might be a twist on the truth. So if it's a version of attack, you can see it as how there's the oneness and that we're being like surrounded and carried by the oneness, but then we see it as a form of attack. So there's still that truth
Yeah.
underneath. Thank you. So to go back to Assy, and then we'll get to Timoth. So Assy said, "Thank you, ladies. You're very welcome." Um, and then she said, "I see Robin Williams movies everywhere lately. Amazing." That's beautiful. I love him. I just got really shy. I'm like, I love him so much. I'm like, shit, he's right. Oh shit! He just popped right in front of me. I'm like, oh crap! Like I'm all embarrassed. And then she goes, I feel Eric and Robin Williams' presence very strongly here. Anything they would like to say to us all? And my feet just got gripped onto really strongly. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I'm receiving anything. And then, Julie, I don't know if you are. I know my feet and hands are being gripped onto. This hand's being gripped onto very strongly. Um, I'm seeing he's just, I'm getting all shy and stupid. Um, this is one reason, and I know that him and Julie have expressed this to me as well, which is one of the reasons why I like working with him so much. Is like, yes, he can be on and he can be funny, but he's also very, very gentle and sweet and loving and caring, and he's just like he's gripping onto like so it's like he's like sitting in front of me and he's like gripping onto this hand with his one hand and he's got his other hand like on top of both of ours and he's just it's making me want to cry. It's really sweet. Um, I'm getting really embarrassed and shy right now because he's really strong. This is so stupid. See, I still play with the ego stuff, even with being starstruck and like just like not just starstruck, but just also like I just love him so much and he knows everything that I think and feel about him. And he's right here. And I'm like, oh my God, this is Robin Williams. I'm so dumb. I know I'm judging myself. Like I feel so stupid right now. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm gonna try and get past my stupid ego gushiness and shyness and see what he's saying. Mm, he's just being really sweet. I can feel he's just like sitting here smiling at me, just waiting for me to just stop and listen. And it's just sweet because the patience is like completely endless. Like I feel stupid that I'm still talking and not listening, but I can feel that he's totally like just calm and he's like, whenever you're ready, it's all good. Like he'll wait here forever until if he needs to. Okay. Yeshua just popped in. He's like on this side, and I can feel that he's holding onto this hand, feel see, but it's more subtle because I know I'm resisting. Now my side, on my back at on the lower end here is getting stroked on this side. Um, I feel like Eric is like holding me and I'm face palming. I'm face palming Eric. I always do that when I go to point him out with his faces here. It's like I know I'm face palming him. So I can feel his energy go up my arm. And I know again it's all one energy, but okay, so basically I'm getting the thought feeling of how, and now the back of my neck's getting touched as I'm saying this. Everything that I'm describing, like take that for yourselves as well. Like you're receiving this as well. It's not just me. You're also your hands are being held too, and you're being held, and they're sitting with you as well. And this goes for anyone, everyone really, but for anyone tuning in, like take this stuff as for you as well. Um, Robin, I just got a visual of him in like he's he's wearing like so it's like he's wearing one of his like okay, it's like my side just got tickled. So there's confirmation. All right, let's go with it. So he's wearing like one of his like blue like Hawaiian shirts, but it's like dark blue, and I feel like it's like golden palm trees, and then like khaki his like the khaki shorts and like flip flops that he wears. But he's also wearing like a blue baseball cap, and he's got a baseball bat in his hand, and he's like standing there like he's ready to. Um, and I'm not quite. I feel like there's a link there to what we were talking about earlier about how like it's all just a game. My hand just got gripped onto even stronger. It's all just a game. And like to have fun with it and play with it. I feel like there's something else there though, and I'm just oh my sorry. My my root going into my sacral chakra. Well, it's my whole chakra system now, but it's really strongly my root and sacral chakra are going off. Again, it doesn't hurt, it feels good. But it's a little distracting. And then that also tells me I know like that's confirmation for me as well that of what I'm receiving. Um oh, and then home plate. And now I'm seeing him hit a home run. So home plate, home. And then it's like the baseball diamond, the different illusions that we like run to, but then we always run back home. Ha. Okay. I'm getting it. um, and then, but then now what I'm also seeing though is um I'm asking for help with my words because it's very obvious when you see it. And I know you guys would know exactly what I'm talking about to see it, but to describe it is might be a little difficult for me. So I'm asking for help with my words. So what I'm seeing him is he's on the home plate with the baseball bat, but then as he's running to all the bases, it's like in movies or shows, and you sort of see it with the Olympics, but it's more spread out. Like, like you'll see like the boom, 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 boom. Like it's like, so it's him still holding the bat and he's running, but it's like stopped. Like there's a picture of him stopped in each point. Like
Mhm.
it's like a thread of him like not that he actually stops and then keeps moving, but like as he's moving, it's like the picture of him like stays as he goes, and and he's he's always at so it looks like he's um so as much as it looks like he's going to these plates and like these pictures are stopping at each of these points, because it's not that he's actually staying in these points, but it's all different points of illusion, and then there's like like our little miniature illusions, then our big illusions or whatever, it's all the same. But then I'm seeing like all of like the pictures like connect up as he stops at this plate and they connect up again. But he's always like there's always a version of him at this home plate. So it's like it looks like he's running out, but it's just these pictures of him that are going to these different spots and they all connect back together, but and they all return home, but at the same time he's always at the home plate. Um so there's that metaphorical reminder there. And then I'm seeing him blowing kisses, and I think I wanna turn to Julie and see if she's receiving anything else. My ribs just got tickled. And I just got a flash of Eric. smiling really big. But I just, yeah, I want to see if Julie's receiving anything else, or if there's anything else that you're receiving about the visual that I'm getting. I don't know. Yeah.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, how nice that Yeshua slash Jesus stepped forward, stepped forward. And um, what I saw was Robin dangling a marionette. And for the example of the person who commented, the marionette is the person who commented in the form that I might expect someone to show up, right? We have expectations of how people could be. And it's like we point to which puppet show we want to see because while we're still seeing and experiencing bodies and believing we are one, we're going to see a puppet show. But who's operating the puppets? Is it fear or is it love? And it really is that easy. It's your puppet show that you ask to see. And no matter what part of the puppet show you're thinking about, you do get to choose that it be love rather than fear that operates all the puppets because you're not taking someone's free will away when you decide love should operate the puppets. Their free will is in love. We're free in love, and we're imprisoned in chaos and fear. So, what we see as independence or separate identity or being cut off from the whole is not free will. That's imprisoned will. We're imprisoned within these bodies that die, and then we think we die, which is a complete confusion about it. So back to the puppet show. Enjoy the puppet show. And when you're ready, the puppet show can become one where it's really obvious that everyone's coming to you from what you are, from love. And if it's not obvious yet, don't worry about it because it's just like we have little hiccups or little stray desires of wanting to see fear and chaos still. But the important part about it is that it all gets cleared up for us. And I don't even know if it had anything to do with anything because it's just kind of coming through me. But yeah, that was what was here.
No, that's awesome. And it makes sense, especially considering everything we've been talking about today about control and letting what's real take control and surrendering and whatnot. And on the flip side of what you're saying, there's also because I keep hearing and seeing from Pinocchio, I got no strings to hold me down. So there's also the metaphor of the puppet of which kind of aligns with what you're saying in the sense of like, so we can either allow what's real to control the puppet strings or which is where we end up not having any strings because that's our true self, which is free, and that allows our true
Hmm.
freedom through. So that actually removes strings in that sense, but in the sense of like the strings of the freedom of like our true self controlling. But then there's that I've got no strings to hold me down. When we hold on to ego, those are strings and they hold us down. But letting go of the ego and allowing what's real to take over let those the true freedom bring through. So there was a little bit of like a flip to that, but also like an exact parallel and like alignment with that. Like, but it's
Yeah,
all
you
you
can
know what?
always reverse the metaphor and it can still get used. So it's really
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, right. And because it's still the same, it's still essentially saying the same thing. It's just showing again like everything in this. We can either utilize it with ego or we can utilize it with truth, and that goes
Mhm.
with that as well. So that's interesting. So thank you for that, Julie. Um, and then also I was getting to with Yeshua, and it keeps popping in my head. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I should share it. Because it was more from like me the other day, but I know that he wants me to share it with everyone too, because it's not just me. Um, I essentially so okay, so just to explain a little bit the backstory. I was laying in bed the other night, eyes closed, and I got a very strong like I don't visual, which I know it was. I saw like open face palm coming at me like very steadily like that. But it was
Mhm.
more like coming towards this side of my visual, like up like this, and it made me flinch. And I couldn't it didn't feel good, but it didn't feel bad, but it didn't feel good, which makes sense because God is so beyond like love is what we are, but it's not a feeling that, and when we tap into it, as much as yes, we can feel that joy, it can also feel very neutral as well because we're not used
Mhm.
to that. comprehend. So recognizing that, especially because Julie helped me recognize, because Julie heard, I was like, I'm not quite sure whose this was because it feels so neutral. And Julie heard hand of God. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And that made me go from like, from feeling like intimidated and like feared, like not because God's bad, but it felt intimidating, especially intimidating. But then I ended off with like feeling like joy to the point that I started to cry. But right before that, I felt unworthy. I was like, and I expressed this to Julie and whatnot. And I was like, I'm in this space of like, who am I to have the hand of God reach down to like, to like hold on to me and whatnot, like, and to even see the hand of God, like who I'm not worthy of that. And then I had a visual. I feel like Julie maybe brought Yeshua in. I can't remember, but I got a visual of Yeshua, and he just, oh yeah, because that's what it was. Because Julie, essentially, Julie brought through Yeshua saying, well, if you're not worthy, then I'm not worthy. And with that, then I got a visual of Yeshua, and this is what I keep
Oh,
seeing.
right. Yeah.
Right. Okay, you're remembering now. So I got a visual of
Yeah.
Yeshua crossing his arms and saying, like, not in a mean way, but going like, all right, and plopping himself down beside me. He's like, I guess we're sitting here together to decide that you are worthy, and that's what I keep seeing right here. It's like with everybody, he's just going, all right, I'm just gonna sit down right here with you until you decide that you're done playing this game. So I'm getting that with that as well, with Yeshua, that reminder there, seeing, and it's very playful, very loving, and very much like, it just again, it makes me want to cry because just the support and the love, like, just like, there's nothing I can say or do and he's not going, like, I can't push him away, like anything I say or do, he's
Mhm.
not going anywhere. And it feels, it's so, again, it's making me want to cry. Like, I know I'm blocking with how big and beautiful it feels, because it's just so beyond. And so especially when I'm in the illusion of not experiencing that kind of unconditional love until now and until my awakening, which is one of the reasons why we've chosen to play this illusion game, because that's one of the things that is quote unquote fun about it, is when we have been in such an illusion of pain and suffering, but then we start to receive, it's gonna make me cry, we start to receive this beyond, this fucking beyond love is just so beautiful, and it's just so yeah, I had to share that with you guys as well, because I keep getting that in my head. So Timoth then says, so this is kind of circling back to the conspiracy stuff. In a way, conspiracy theories are just ego thought beliefs and can be how false information spreads. They could also be fear mongering. That's exactly what it is. Conspiracy theories, ego lies, fear, false evidence appearing real. And then we allow the crook of my elbow is getting stroked right here. Um, and then we allow it to quote unquote spread, expand in our illusion. But then we remember what this is, and we suck it all back up. Not like that we're sucking it up into a container and holding it in until we explode, but I mean sucking it back up into what we truly are, and that absorbs it and melts it away, and then we see it never exists in the first place. So yeah, they are ego lies and just false evidence appearing real. Absolutely. Julie, were you wanting to say anything to that?
Yeah. I get in a little loop sometimes where I think it's the people over there who are fear mongering, and then I have to come back to myself and remind myself, oh, they're showing me exactly what I wanted to see. They're putting on a little pageant for me at my request. And all I have to remember, God goes with me wherever I go. And of course, God is with them. And you don't have to use the God word, light, love, what is real, what is true, what is actual. So just the willingness to allow everything that is not actual to safely wash away, revealing what we are together, that feels like most sane and most stable to me.
And my nose is getting played with again right here. So there's confirmation as well. So thank you for that. Absolutely. So then Timoth then says, I know this is ego judgment, but people can be mean on YouTube comments or in live streams. I'm in the illusion of that. Absolutely. I know that that's one reason why I've been, my illusion journey of this has been a quote unquote slow start. I don't have big numbers right now. The main thing is because I'm supposed to be working on myself, and doing my mental cleanup. And my main job right now is my work on myself. That being said, my nose is getting stroked again. That being said, I'm also in the illusion of people online can be mean, and I'm very afraid, which is one reason why I'm just honest with where I'm at in my past and things I say and do, because I'm in the illusion of like this stuff. If like I don't want anything to come back and bite me in the ass, like how can I sit here on screen and act, even though the truth is I am light and love and joy and peace? How can I sit here on screen and act like I don't have any shit that I'm struggling with or that I've said or done when I know in my illusion past and whatnot that I have, and I'm afraid of it coming back to bite me in the ass or people being mean about it or just people being mean in general, from how I speak to how I look to what my apartment looks like, or just so much about like insecurities and whatnot. So I know that my numbers have been a slow increase for various reasons, and one of them is that. So yeah, I'm in the illusion of comments can be mean. I've had just actually this morning, even before this, I had to delete a couple comments off of one of my posts because someone did not like my response to a question on Facebook about if we believe hell is real or not and why. And I essentially answered how it's fact that it's not real. It's not a belief, it's a fact, and it's a false ego mind construct and yada yada yada. And this person basically came at me talking about how the Bible's historical truth, and then they commented on my posts making fun of me, talking about how this is basically new age craziness and all that. And so it just, and I didn't like the only thing that I originally went back to their first comment just saying, I know you're merely a character that I'm making up, allowing to reflect ego lies, and I'm doing my mental cleanup on this, and I'm not going to respond. I've said what I came here to say. There's no point in arguing with ego. It's fine, which is still a bit of an ego response because I responded at all, but that's all I said. And I didn't go back and forth with him. He actually ended up blocking me. So yes, I'm in the illusion of comments can be mean, but I also recognize, like what Julie was saying, it's reflections of things that I'm clinging to, and I don't like admitting it. Yeah, I can feel the ego not liking admitting it right now, but I'm choosing to see it, and I do recognize that. So, Julie?
Well, we have two things. It always becomes dualistic for me. I have physical sight and I'm able to hear and I'm able to read and have abilities, I think, belong to time and space. And that's meaningless. Even though I use it in a way that seems personally meaningful to me every day, like I know how to drive, right? But being told that this is meaningless has been very helpful to me because the second thing I have is vision. And vision lets me see past the fear I projected that's taking forms in time and space. And vision lets me see that being as just a being. And vision lets me rest with that being and rejoice in who they are. And then vision reminds me that Holy Spirit is here. And even though I came here to make a world of chaos and death, yay me, um, not really, false me, not real me. Holy Spirit is real me and also can make the world at my request. So what am I waiting for? I can make a world in terms of allowing time and space to come into direct alignment with the truth of every being, which can only be love. And that's another making of the world. I don't say creating because we were created by our creator, and time and space is an illusion that we're making. That's I'm using the language from A Course in Miracles to distinguish between the two. So with Holy Spirit, what we all are together, I can make a world that shows us very clearly who and what we are. And if I'm seeing who and what we aren't, that's okay. I have help and I can just reorient.
Absolutely. And it's with what you had said there about seeing, I think you said something about seeing the world that we want to see, and then time and space and whatnot. And it's funny because I've been having um I can't remember which song it is, but Alan Walker, from one of his songs, the lyrics, "This is not the world we've left behind, but we've got time." And I haven't been really clicking into what it's been meaning, but I got a bit, and I'm asking for
That's
help because
cool.
thank you. It's kind of fading like water a little bit, like what I was receiving about it, but you just gave me a click in about how this is not the world we left behind. So this isn't the real world, and we've got time because there is no time. So we've got all the time and space that we need to wake up and remember what this is and allow what is real to take over, because time isn't linear. It might look like it is, like Julie said, like we the false me chose to play pretend with the look of death and whatnot. At the same time, it's not real, and we've got infinity to to stop playing pretend. But thankfully, there's only now. And we are waking up when we are remembering, because I can feel myself going, I don't want to be doing this for infinity. Well, infinity is what is.
No.
We are infinity, but thankfully,
Yeah.
the illusion is actually temporary. What we are is infinity,
I'm
but the
done
illusion
hitting
is
myself.
right. Exactly. I'm done just, and you reminded me of the meme of like, it's like before spiritual awakening, and it's like the kid on the ground with like the boot on its face, and then it's like
Yeah.
after spiritual awakening, it's zooming out, and the kid's got like the hand in its boot and it's doing it to itself.
Yeah, you
So
might still be hitting yourself, but now you know, oh, that's me. I'm
just
doing
me
it.
doing it. Exactly. Oh, the attack isn't real. Oh yeah, it's just a game. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. um okay, so let's see here. As he said, oh my God, got the same feeling of Yeshua. That's beautiful. Yeshua, Jesus. That's beautiful. So there's some confirmation there. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then she says, reminding me of the Kevin Costner movie that if you build, they will come, and he builds baseball fields and they will start to show up. That's been actually, it's kind of funny.
That's
So
beautiful.
Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams. That's kind of funny because that's actually been surfacing a bit for me lately. But I've for some reason I've been choosing not to watch it. I don't remember why. I think because it has to do with like baseball players, and I'm like, that's gonna like pull them through, and I avoid blocking. I mean, I avoid blocking. That's funny. That's funny that I said that. So I'm gonna start avoid blocking Spirit. That's good. I block. I block Spirit, even though I know we're all
I'm
one with all
gonna
the
block the blocking.
I'm going to block the block. Yes, finally. I like when things work out like that because it shows I'm making progress. That's funny. But yeah, if you build it, they will come. They will start to show up. Yeah, if we do that, like no, there is no work to do. There just be, but the mental cleanup, the work to allow, do that mental cleanup and allow it, because it's not even just showing up, like because they're already here, they've already shown up. All is here always, right? So that's why, again, it's not even really a thing of like one spirit team versus another. It's just how we're allowing energy that we're one with to play. I recognize, I said, Eric, I'm one with him. He's energy playing a role that I'm allowing. Robin, I'm one with him. He's energy playing as I'm allowing to script onto my hand. He's playing it with as energy as I'm allowed. He's energy playing as I'm allowing him. Even Julie, right now, Julie, as we're looking at her, is energy playing as I'm allowing, and it is me. Right now,
Yep.
I am Julie playing energy as Julie's allowing it. You guys are me playing energy playing as I'm allowing, and my nose is getting stroked now here too. So yeah, absolutely. And then we are all worthy. Now before I get into what Timothy is saying, did you want to add anything to that, Julie?
Just beautiful. It's just a beautiful image. Thank you for sharing it. And yeah, just to take a moment to rest in that worthiness and know we're safe because it applies to every being. And we can allow the beings to appear in the worthiness that's the been the always truth of them.
Absolutely. And this is why, as just a little side note on that, before I read what Timothy here has said, um, that's just surfacing again a little bit of what I've been feeling with when it comes to the Olympics. On one end, there's been my hand's getting like the increase on the grip on my hand. Um, there's definitely been the surfacing of like the immense love and joy and unity and oneness with the Olympics, especially particularly in the opening, like the opening ceremonies, and just everyone just being cheered and cheered and cheered, and just like the love, like that's just the illusion of like the homecoming, because we're always home, but in the illusion of transitioning and homecoming and just being greeted and loved and held, and how that we're always being greeted and loved and held. And then also when you just see like the beautiful love between like the shaking of the hands and the hugging, like the opponent athletes, like that connection and the one and the love and the loveness, the love and the oneness,
The
that
loveness. I
definitely
like it.
the loveness. That definitely I've been feeling that with that. At the same time, I've also been feeling the ego ick with that, because like Julie was just saying, we are equal, and our true power is safe because it is equal and it is shared. And when we look at things like the Olympics, it is really surfaced for me this whole thing of, different countries, different cultures, different types of people, different types of abilities. And as much as, yes, there's that beautiful truth that flows through in the ways I was explaining, at the same time, I can just feel so much of the ego ick of just, there's so much illusion of separation with that. Like, what is one country versus another? What are cultures? What are skin colors? What are even different genders? Like, it's all just and different abilities. It's all just an ego. It's not wrong or bad. It's just an ego-like gameplay to help us perpetuate the illusion of separation. And it really surfaced to me. If we can just let go of these identities that we cling to, if we let go of there's different countries and different cultures and all of this type of stuff, the ego has to do anything but melt away because it's getting less and less of the illusion of opposition to play against each other, so that's just been surfaced that just surfaced as well for that. So thank you. So Timoth here said, now I'm drooling a bit. Timoth says, what about when some people, especially Christians, saying claiming to be God is blasphemous because that's how the serpent deceived Eve in Garden of Eden? This is one of the arguments Christians use. um so
Oh, let me interrupt for just a second. You
yeah.
know how my earbuds do that thing? I,
Oh
I
yeah.
have to leave and come back because they're doing that thing. So I'll be right back.
Okay, sounds good. I'll let you in. Okay. um, I'll just start answering, and then when Julie comes back, I'll just add her in, and she can also add into this. Um, so it's just making me smile because that stuff's been a bit surfaced for me as well. Um, so with the way I allow my ego to operate, and I allow myself to operate through my ego judgments, this is where I have more grace. I give more grace when it comes to those who claim to be religious versus those who claim to be spiritual, because I'm in the illusion of those who are religious are more asleep, and they, as much as they might claim to understand what truth is, they haven't hit an awakening point in the sense of understanding. Oh, hang on one second. She said okay, hold on one second here, you guys. That's just Julie. She said for some reason the link isn't working. Hang on. It just takes me to hang on. And she said it, but it just takes me to YouTube Live. Okay. 1 second. I'm a oops. I'm a try and figure it out. Okay. So let's see here what we can do. Oh, I see this. And then copy link. And then is this going to, oh, wait, share? Oh, here we go. Hi, Julie. Okay, I found the share button. And okay, okay, I think I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. So let's see. Um, let's see if that works. Oh my God, I cannot type on this damn phone if that works. So fingers crossed that this will work. Um, so I give more grace because I'm in the illusion um, that they're not as awake and whatnot. It sent me to here, but not to join. Um, I don't know. Let's see here. Let's see. Headmaster remote channel activity as moderator. Put using channel. Report remove channel activity add as moderator. Put in timeout. It's giving me the option to put you in a timeout, Julie. I don't want to do that. Oh, that was me turning my camera off. Add person. Oh, okay. I think here, Julie, okay. Guys, this is probably going to turn my camera off or something for a moment. I'm wondering if that link I sent was just the live stream. Let me copy the link to invite a guest and let me send that. I'm going to have to open up my messenger. So this might turn this turns my camera off, or if I go offline, I'll be back live in a second. So just keep an eye open. So let me, Julie, just try this again. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. This should work. Ah, yay!
Yay!
Out. Sorry about that. Welcome back.
Thank you. I actually have to go soon, but maybe there's a last thing we can do to wrap it up.
Okay, so let's just see here. Let's just go through these. Um oh, I think it's just yeah, it's just your comments. So let's just go through what Timoth says, and then if anyone who's on here still has anything else they want to ask really quick, maybe
I'll
pop it
be
up
done in
now.
just a second, honey. I'll be up in a few minutes.
Maybe pop it up now, and then we're going to wrap it up and call it a day for this. So yeah, so essentially I definitely have more grace when it comes to the religious community and the spiritual community, because I'm in the illusion that they're more asleep and they're not claiming to be awake and understanding what truth is, in the sense of what spiritual community is when they talk about we're all one, but then they indulge in ego lies like something like this, so um when it comes to that, that's again just my reflection. So um Christians saying that it's blasphemous to be God, and how the serpent deceived, that's how the serpent deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. That's one of the metaphors reflecting one of the deepest ego lie illusions that I'm choosing to cling to, which is I'm not God, and it's wrong and bad for me to claim that I am. A huge, 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 beautiful, beautiful, perfect ego lie, and it's doing its job perfectly to help us play with the illusion of separation. My both hands are getting gripped onto right now. With that being said, that's all that it's doing. It's an ego lie to help us play with the illusion of separation and to help us cling to the illusion that I'm not God. Um, so and again with the whole thing of like the Garden of Eden and Eve and the snake, all versions are playing out, yet none of it's actually happening. And again, we choose the illusion that we want to see. And so um and then again, we would even judge that moment as wrong or bad, because we could look at it metaphorically as as the one of the moments that we went into spiritual amnesia. Same thing with the illusion of the fall of Atlantis and Lemuria, where we went into amnesia, which is kind of aligns in at least one version. That was the Garden of Eden was in Atlantis and Lemuria, and so it all ties in with, that's the fall was never like angels falling from heaven or anything. It was just a metaphorical representation of us choosing to play pretend with the illusion of spiritual amnesia, which is making what we've made ourselves pretend to forget that we are God, we are love, we are one, all of this. So that's basically oops, that's basically where I'm at with that, and what I know I'm kind of being prompted to say. And I got tickled on my ribs as I was saying all that too. So there we go.
So, yeah, if somebody should say, like, claiming to be God is blasphemy, the most important thing in that moment is how do I feel? Because if I'm not feeling at peace, then I'm believing a lie. And it doesn't really matter what they're saying. It's, do I have the willingness to see them as the innocence they are? And how am I supposed to answer them? It'll come to me in the moment, especially if I'm focusing on the innocence they are and they will always be. So I don't even have to worry about any arguments anyone might pose at any time. If we would just remember, if anything comes up to disturb us, it's like a reminder that we believe we actually did separate from God, and we can't be separate from God. So, whenever anything seems to come up in our experience to disturb, it's a reminder you're still holding on to guilt about doing something that cannot be done. You can imagine that you separated from God, but you can't. So, the most important thing to remember, no matter what argument seems to be coming my way, is that the one doing the arguing is beloved, is innocent, is guiltless forever. That's the only way I'm going to remember that I'm guiltless forever. I haven't done anything, because you can't separate from God. You cannot create time and space. You can make time and space. You can imagine it. And that's all I've ever done. That's all anyone has ever done. So on that note, I do have to fly, but maybe Tally can finish up. And thank you everybody for being here. It was fun.
Thank you, Julie. I'm gonna text you quick when I end this here. I got just a couple things
Yeah.
to tell you and ask, but thank you for all of this, and just so that you know, like as you said, the innocent thing, particularly the first time I got tickled in my ribs. So that I just wanted to give you that confirmation as well.
Oh,
Um
thanks.
so yeah, I've got a few things that I want to say to all of that, but I have a feeling you don't want to sit through it. So
Yeah, I
so
do have to go. I have
yeah,
people
yeah.
people
So I'm
calling for me.
no worries. So I'm just gonna say goodbye to Julie. Then I'll wrap up what I want to say here to response to all of this, and then I'm gonna end this, and then Julie, I'll text you. So thank you, Julie,
Okay.
for doing this live again with me. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
I
Thanks
really
for
enjoyed
having
it.
me.
Oh my gosh, you're very welcome. And her and I know that I mean, we talked about who wants to go live on what YouTube, and we're both open for it. So even without even asking if we were even thinking about it, we were just like, so well, next time we go live, so we're clearly going to go live again.
Yeah, we definitely
So,
are. I feel
yeah,
like this is a thing for us now. Yeah.
that's so funny. I was actually getting that too, and I'm going to text you about that because I don't want to
Thanks,
talk about
Timmy.
anything up here and make you feel like you're pressured. So I'm going to message you about what I've been feeling about that. So
Okay.
I'll text you that too. So yeah. So yes, with Timoth, thank you, Julie, for all this. I love you very much, and I'll message you in a few here once I end this. Okay, and I love you and
Okay.
thank you.
Love you guys. I see everybody as everybody simultaneous student, teacher, therapist, and patient. So thanks for being all of that. And I'm happy to be that for you.
And thank you for being
Okay.
that. Love you.
Bye.
Mhm. Bye. So, so with all of that, I'm trying to remember here. Oh yeah, so it kind of like this is kind of a side note off of that, but with Julie was saying something about what matters is how we feel about it, and that I want to expand that onto this as well goes for um what's surfacing specifically is like past life regression or parallel life regression. Again, that's unless you're working on how you feel about things, it's just a temporary band-aid solution. Not that it's wrong or bad, it is just a temporary solution. So this is what like with past life or parallel, oops, uh, with past life or oh, that's there we go. That's I'm like that's really zoomed in. I shouldn't have touched it. I knew. I'm like it's on such an unsteady setup here. So with parallel life regression therapy and whatnot, you can go back and rework these moments and whatnot in whatever forms and techniques that you choose to. At the same time, it's just a temporary relief because unless you're working on how you're feeling about it in that now, like in the now that you're thinking about it, it's again, it's just temporary band-aid. It's everything that we're navigating through comes from what we're thinking and feeling. So you got to work on that end of things with that too. And I just wanted to throw that out there. And then I'm trying to remember. There was a couple other points. I can't. I feel like there was one more, but I'm not remembering right now. I do know that I was wanting to share as well. Um, hang on, I'll get to that in a second. Timothy is saying the blasphemous part could also be believing you're God in an ego sense. Right. So that is yes. So that's an interesting point. So there's a whole thing in the Bible I think about like thou shalt not worship false gods. And it's not again that there's like a sin in the commandments against sin or anything like that. It's just the reminder of like so what is a false god? The ego. Ego is the false god, and we worship ego every time we're believing its lies and allowing ourselves to operate through it. So that's it's just a reminder of work on not worshiping, working, operating through the ego and rather allowing what is real, which is God, which is our true self to shine through. So in the sense that saying that we're the ego, that would be blasphemous because we're not the ego. To say we're God is what's truth. So that's really cool. I like that. That's quite a cool little twist on that. So I like that. Thank you. And then I also just wanted to share this is a complete side note in a sense. But just kind of talking like side note in the sense of what we're talking about now, but reflecting on kind of like one of the main points of the conversation today, which is, we make up the dream we want to see, and doing the mental cleanup and allowing what's real to take over, and peace is what we truly are. So before we started this live, I've been dealing with some physical symptoms of not feeling well in different ways. And um I'd been expressing to Julie, but then also within myself, to Eric, God, our true self, doing mental cleanup with how I'm in the illusion of believing that the reason why I'm physically not feeling well is because I'm holding on to anxiety over the noise above me. Because there's definitely an improvement. I definitely went through a obvious shift, like I talked about in my previous videos, at the same time, as I expressed in that video as well. And I knew there was still going to be noise, and there was going to be moments where it was going to get to me. And yesterday, the noise started early afternoon and didn't stop until probably about 9 o'clock at night. It went on for hours, and it was pretty loud. And then this morning, starting at 9 a.m., it was constant, not as loud as yesterday, but there was noise, and it was constant. And right up until Julie, because Julie and I called each other, we talked on the phone for about 15 minutes before we went live. And up until Julie called me, the noise from above me was consistent. It was loud enough that it was getting to me. It wasn't as loud as yesterday, but it was enough that it was getting to me. But I did my mental cleanup on it. I surrendered it and whatnot. And the true miracle is the perception change, which is being at peace regardless of the noise, which it's happening more and more, absolutely, especially since this obvious shift I went through. At the same time, the external can also switch around and reflect that too, and can come in different forms. And what's so interesting is I had done the mental cleanup. I was in distress and anxiety that there was going to be a bunch of noise all day today, and especially during the live that I'm doing with Julie. It's like, I don't even know if they're home right now. It has been completely silent since we've gone live. There's not been, at least not that I've noticed, there hasn't been any noise. So for me, that is also more point proof, for me anyway, about how, again, we choose what we want to see and what we navigate through. And when we let go and surrender, do that mental cleanup, not only, first and foremost, it allows the peace that we truly are within always, but then eventually, so not only that, eventually we do start to see it reflect in our external as well, in different forms. We can still be in the illusion in this now, where there is illusion, shadow, false evidence appearing real, playing out around us. At the same time, it can switch, and this is one of those moments where it did switch. Noise right up until I started prepping and getting ready for this live, and there's been nothing since. So that's really cool, and I'm really grateful for it. And I wanted to share that with you guys too, because I just, if particularly if you're in the illusion of struggle with doing this stuff, and again, kind of what I was saying at the beginning of this, you're in the illusion of struggle and you're not seeing results, and is it worth it? I can share with you that it is. I have my moments where I still question if it is, but I know that it is. And the more you do this, it does it. I'm in the illusion it takes layers and time, but we do get there, and we are there already technically. So, all right. So with all that, I think I'm going to end this. But thank you all for joining, and for asking questions, and for watching, and for subscribing, and for just being you and playing the roles that you're playing. And thank you again. I know she's not on here right now, but I just want to give a thank you again to Julie for joining. Thank you, Assie. I appreciate you. Thank you, Timoth. I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate anyone and everyone in general. And then just also focusing in on those who do decide to tune in and watch this in another now. So thank you guys all for everything. I love you very much. And I think that's it. So let's end off with what I always say. Have a wonderful now. Love you all. Bye. If I can remember how to end this, I always forget. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.